So I've got a camera to review today on the channel. This is the Elephone Rexso Explorer 4K, and it does shoot in full 4K, so it shoots 4K and at 30 frames per second. It comes in one of the neat sort of camera boxes that they have these days, really well protected, as you can see. It mounts in every way going. I've just popped those bits out, but honestly there's every conceivable mount you could possibly want to attach it to. And the actual camera's packaged already in its underwater housing, which is rated to 30 meters. So let's get this out and have a look. Okay, so like I say, you do get the facilities to literally strap this camera to anything. You've got belt clips, you've got bicycle handlebar ones for mountain bikes or motorbikes, road bikes, whatever. You've got cable ties, you've got a little stainless steel wire so you can actually make sure it doesn't fall off if it's on a quad, or you've got it hanging off something as a little bit of safety there. You've got everything. You mount it onto tripods, everything. And you've got all sorts of different houses. You don't have to have it in the underwater housing to fit it to all these things. So you've got loads of choices there and a load of straps as well. So I'm going to clear this out of the way. Let's concentrate on the camera. Onto the camera itself, and you've got the on-off switch here, and you just hold that in for a couple of seconds and it will fire up, and also to shut it down you do the same. This also accesses the menu as well, so you press this and it opens up the menu area, and you scroll through the menus by pressing this, and it clicks through the different menus. When you want to select something to change, you simply use the shutter button here, which is also used for starting and stopping your video. If you want to go back, you simply use the Wi-Fi button here, press that once and it will go back once, press it again, it keeps going back through the menus. To activate the Wi-Fi, because this has got quite a good app with it actually, you simply hold that down for a couple of seconds and it says Wi-Fi initializing, and off you go. Back to the front of the camera, and you've got two holes, and that's for the two microphones. And then if we go to the top of the camera, you've got three holes there, which is for the speaker. If we come around to the side, you've got two ports. You've got a micro USB port, and you get the cable for that, and that's how we actually charge up the battery on it. And also you've got an HDMI out, so you can play back onto a large HD screen if you want. The batteries under this battery bay area, you just simply push it to the side and you can slide it out, but you don't need to for charging or anything else. It's a 1200 milliamp hour battery, and it takes about an hour and a half to charge from completely discharged up to fully charged. If you're shooting 4K at 30 frames a second, you'll get about an hour, just over an hour of shooting. If you're shooting 1080p, then you'll get about an hour and a half. It takes a micro SD card, and it takes up to 64 gigabytes, and they recommend high-speed ones. You will definitely need a U3 card if you're going to be shooting 4K, because of the vast amount of data that it has to move with a 4K video. The actual dimensions of it are you've got 60mm across here, and you've got 33mm from the lens front to the back of the camera, and you've got 41mm from top to bottom. If you take the lens off or measure back, the actual camera body itself is 22mm. The weight of the camera with the battery in is 75 grams. So as I say, to turn the camera on, you simply hold this button for a couple of seconds. You get, to me it just sounds like it's going to start into an ice cream van you would have in the UK. It's just got that sort of metallic-y sort of sound to it. And then onto the back, we don't have any, it's not a touch screen on the back. Like I say, the menus are activated from this button here. So we're on 4K, and the information is quite good on the actual screen itself. You've got how much of your micro SD card you've got remaining, you've got how much battery power you've got remaining, you've got what mode you're in, and we're in video mode, and we're shooting 4K at 30 frames a second. You do have a quick access to change anything that you're in within the mode that you're in. So i.e. we're in video mode, we simply press that one, and then we can change from the video to the other settings. But we can also, by pressing this front button again, drop down, and that pushes you through the menus, and then you can actually just scroll through the different video settings. To go back, simply press the Wi-Fi button there, and that will bring you back to your main screen again. So if we go into that if you press the button on the front, you then go into the main menu area, and then if you keep pressing the button on the front, you scroll through, and then you can go into all your settings and everything. To select anything, you simply use the camera shutter button, and you've always got a back button top left, or you can just use the Wi-Fi button again. You then scroll through to where you want to make any changes, select again, and then use the button on the front again to scroll through the different settings. Obviously you've got lots of different languages, set it for your time zone, etc. when you want it dormant and everything. It's quite a simple setup on it, and you've got a factory reset as well, which I always like to see. It gets you out of trouble if you've played around with menus and spoilt anything. Then we come back in again. You can go through the information of the actual camera itself and what version it's shooting. Press this again, you come back to the back menu, and you can go through all your other settings again. So we can set the media up in here. So we have microphones on or off, flip it, on-screen display, and just carry on through all the different ones. I haven't shown anything which is H.265, which this actually can shoot in H.265 on the encoding, because YouTube at the moment isn't accepting it. It is they say that it's going to be a better video format, and it's out on the high-end stuff, but YouTube can't show it. So there's, to be honest, there's no point in shooting it on there, because you wouldn't be able to upload it. You can choose your TV modes, and the DIS setting is the digital image stabilisation, and you can have that either on or off, and I'll show you what the results are like later on in the review. And again, just back up to the top so it just goes around, it's cyclical, and then just press that and come back in again. You can only alter the settings for whatever mode you're in. So we're in video mode at the moment, so if I come across the photo and press to select it, you can't. It's a bit unusual, but it's just the way it works. So the way to do that is just come back into your main screen, come back along and move it along to photo, select photo, back in again, and then just come into your settings. Now we can alter the photos. So you've got all your different options here, scene modes, exposure compensation, white balance, metering, etc. Right the way through. And again, just simply use the Wi-Fi button to take you back. When you take a shot or activate anything, like I'm taking a still here, you press that, you don't actually get any noise or anything, and I haven't found a way of putting that on. It just simply counts up. Same happens when you're in video mode as well. So we select video, and now if I press the shoot video, it starts counting up, but there's no beep or anything else. On the front of the camera you do get a flashing LED, and you can turn that off if you don't want that on. To activate the Wi-Fi, like I say, you just simply hold this button in on the side, and then it turns on the Wi-Fi, and it gives you the password there, which you can change in the app as well. Once you're connected up to the Wi-Fi, you can press the Wi-Fi button quickly, and it will bring you back onto your main screen for shooting. If you want to turn the Wi-Fi off again, just hold it and it will just turn it off. To turn the camera off, you simply hold the front button again, and that turns off the camera. And onto the app itself, you can download this, and it works either on Android or on Apple, and it's called Explorer K. I'm going to turn the Wi-Fi on the actual camera itself. Just hold that in. Because I've already logged onto it once, the phone will remember the actual password to get in, so I don't actually need that. If I press the shutter button, it gets us back to the normal screen. On your Wi-Fi settings, go in, select your Wi-Fi, and then connect up to the Explorer K as it says there. It does it automatically actually, it's done this several times for me, so I quite like that. Then come back to your main screen, and then go into the Explorer app. Press the little video button, and then we're live. And as you can see, it's not bad actually. It's not much delay with it. The only disadvantage with it is it doesn't go for very far, probably only about 30 feet or so, something like that. And if you actually put this one side, if you put the camera one side of your body and your phone the other side, you actually lose the Wi-Fi signal. So it's great for setting up shots and operating it remotely, but you certainly couldn't use it for flying FPV or anything like that. But you can activate everything from the app. It's really quite nicely done. So we can start and stop the video. We can actually change the settings of the videos here, and we can scroll through all the different settings that we have, and then the actual media settings as well. And you can upgrade the firmware, and it tells you what your current firmware is and what the new one is. If you need to upgrade, you can. If not, there's absolutely no need in this case. And then you've got your system settings as well, so all the different ones that we had on the camera. Actually a little bit easier to get to be perfectly honest, on the app. I like this app, it works really well. To change it from taking a video, you could then go into loop on the video, so it will record in a certain amount of time. Time lapse, and I'll show you some time lapse I've shot with it. It seems pretty good actually, and you can set how long the delay is for the time lapse as well. You've got video and photos, you've got slow motion as well, and I'll show you some slow-mo stuff here as well. Then if you want to change it over to the camera, you press the camera, but you also have to press what you want as a function in the camera. If you just press this and go back one on the menu, all you get is it will drop back onto the last thing you set, like the video. So you have to select photo, and then it will change the icon there to an actual camera, and you could take your stills. And again, you don't get a noise on the actual camera itself, but you do get a noise on your actual app. So I think it's another advantage with this app, to be perfectly honest. And then you've got if you want to do burst or time mode as well. So there's quite a lot of facilities, and I haven't had the app crash on me yet. It will do while I'm doing the review, won't it? But I've had no issues with it at all. And if I show you, if I go back, it just stays on what it was originally set on with the actual camera mode. If we come down here, we can then change all the settings, so all your photo settings and everything are in here as well. So, and again, I think the app's a lot easier to use than the actual camera itself. I think that's just my personal opinion. You might find once you get used to the buttons on the camera, you could change it just as quickly. I'm sure you could. And you can do this on the camera itself or on the app. You can actually view the images that you've taken, and you can actually delete them as well. So if you can take a look at it, and it downloads it across the Wi-Fi, and then you can have a look at it, and if you want to delete it, you simply can. So simply hold it, you get the options of what you want to do with it, and then we're going to delete that, and that will delete it off the camera as well, so just be careful with that. And you can also play back your videos as well, and you can do all of these facilities are all on the camera, in the camera menus itself. microphone test of birds singing in garden. And just testing the two microphones when you're facing them. Okay, so you've seen all the footage and everything. Only you could decide what you want. My personal impression of it is it's pretty good, actually, for the money. I think it's about 60 odd pounds, something like that. It's not going to replace a 300 pound GoPro. It's not aimed to either. It does shoot full 4K at 30 frames a second, where a while back you were struggling and they were bringing them out at 20 and 15 frames a second. So it does actually do what it says it does. Time lapse and everything was excellent on it, and I never had the camera seize up once or freeze or anything, which was really good. And I never had that on the app either, and that's really good. I'm quite impressed with that. I like the app on it. It's a shame it doesn't work over a reasonable distance, but again, that's sort of the trade-off with the price again, I think. Whether you had a Wi-Fi booster on your phone, whether that would help, I don't know. But actually setting it up, and if you're close or got a clear line of sight, it's nice and clear and works really well. The screen itself is slightly dark, I would say, but you know, I'm running through. I'm very honest on my reviews. If this is the first one you've seen, trust me, I'm honest. Have a look around the channel. There's lots of honest stuff there. So yes, that. I was disappointed with the sound of the microphones. To be honest, I've put most of my cameras go on quads or cars or stuff like that, so I mute the sound anyway, but it was quite disappointing. It is very low. You can just boost it up when you're actually processing it before you go live, so you can do that, but it's another thing to do. And again, like I say, I wasn't overly impressed with the sound on it. Everything else seemed to work pretty good. The menu functions, once you get the hang of it, is absolutely fine. So that was, I think, was everything's pretty good on it. Yeah, I think for the money, it's pitched about right, I would say. Just one little thing to be aware of, and this is on loads of cameras. This isn't just this one by any means. If you buy a separate underwater housing, invariably, or if you're paying a lot of money for a camera, you get an underwater housing. The actual lens cover at the front here, basically, is usually glass. And on this one, and on loads of other budget ones where they sort of lob this in free of charge, it's actually plastic, so it's quite easy to scratch. So just be aware of that. If you're careful with it, they last for years, no problem at all. If you scratch it, it's scratched and that's it. But obviously a glass one is quite difficult to scratch. So there we go. Only you can decide how to spend your hard-earned cash, but there's one thing to bear in mind. If you've got a £60 camera up in a quad and it hits something and drops to the deck, you're going to be a lot happier than a £300 camera hitting the deck. So hope you enjoyed that. I certainly enjoyed reviewing the camera, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.